Imagine meeting someone online. They seem normal, charming, funny, and maybe even a little mysterious. You exchange messages, you get excited, and finally, you agree to meet up. But what if, the moment you walk through that door, the person waiting isn't who they said they were? What if instead of a date, you walked into a trap set by a man obsessed with murder? A man desperate to live out his twisted fantasy, inspired by one of the most infamous TV shows of all time? This isn't fiction. This isn't an episode of Dexter. This is real life. And the man at the center of this chilling story is Mark Twitchell, the so-called Dexter Killer. A filmmaker from Canada who blurred the line between fantasy and reality in the most horrifying way possible. But here's the kicker. His first victim actually survived. And if that victim had gone to the police, things could have ended differently. But he didn't. And because of that, another man would never make it out alive. Stay with me, because this story only gets darker the deeper we go. Mark Twitchell was 29 years old. On the surface, he seemed like just another creative guy chasing a dream. He was a filmmaker, living in Edmonton, Canada, and he wanted to make it big in the horror scene. But under that surface, Mark had something festering, an obsession. He wasn't obsessed with fame. He wasn't obsessed with money. He was obsessed with Dexter Morgan, the fictional blood spatter analyst by day, serial killer by night, from Showtime's hit TV series, Dexter. Twitchell devoured the show. He studied it. He admired Dexter's cold precision, his ritualistic killings, and the double life he led. But here's the problem. Dexter's fictional code was that he only killed people who deserved it. Murderers, rapists, monsters. Mark Twitchell missed that part completely. For him, it wasn't about justice. It was about power, control, bloodlust. In 2008, Twitchell began pouring his dark imagination into a 9-minute short horror film he titled House of Cards. And the plot? A man lures a victim into a garage and kills him. Sound familiar? Because it should. This wasn't just a script. It was a blueprint. His fantasy, captured on film. But it didn't end there. Twitchell kept his real thoughts in a journal. A disturbing document he called SK Confessions. SK standing for serial killer. And in this diary, he didn't just write scripts. He wrote plans. He wrote fantasies. He wrote the step-by-step process of how he would lure, capture, and kill a real human being. At this point, it wasn't a matter of if he would try. It was a matter of when. In October of 2008, Twitchell set his plan into motion. He went on the dating site Plenty of Fish, posing as a woman. Fake name, fake pictures. He wanted lonely men, desperate men, the kind of men who wouldn't think twice about meeting up at a garage. Soon, he found someone. We'll call him G. G thought he was meeting an attractive woman. Instead, he was walking straight into the pages of SK Confessions. The night came. G arrived at the address. The garage door was open. He stepped inside, expecting to meet his date. Instead, the door creaked shut behind him. And then, bam! A man in a hockey mask attacked him from the shadows. Punches landed. A stun gun cracked with electricity. G fell to the floor, dazed. Then a gun was shoved in his face. Twitchell barked orders. Lay down, don't move! Tape over the mouth, handcuffs ready. But here's where everything unraveled. In the chaos, G grabbed the gun, and instantly he realized it was fake. Plastic? A toy? Think about that for a second. You're staring down what you believe is a death sentence, only to suddenly realize the threat isn't real. Would you fight? Would you freeze? G chose to fight. He punched Twitchell and scrambled for the exit. His legs were weak from the stun gun, and he collapsed outside, crawling, desperate. He spotted a couple walking their dog and begged for help. But then, out came Twitchell, still in his hockey mask, trying to play it off. Oh, it's just a prank. We were messing around. And unbelievably, the couple believed him. They walked away. But G didn't stop. He clawed his way to his car, forced himself inside, and sped off into the night. You'd think the next stop would be the police station, right? But no. For reasons still debated to this day, fear, embarrassment, paranoia, G never reported. Yet he vanished from Twitchell's story, and because of that silence, Twitchell was free to try again. Cliffhanger. What happens when a man obsessed with killing decides he won't make the same mistake twice? Days later, Twitchell went back online. Back to plenty of fish. Same routine. Fake profile, fake woman, lonely man. This time, the man he lured was 38-year-old Johnny Altinger. Johnny wasn't careless, though. He was cautious. Before heading out to meet this woman, he emailed a friend. "Hey, I'm meeting someone from a dating site tonight. Here's the address. If anything happens to me, this is where I went. That one decision would later break this case wide open." Johnny showed up to the garage. The door was open, just like before. He stepped inside, and just like before, an ambush. Twitchell struck him with a pipe, knocking him unconscious. This time, there would be no escape. When Johnny woke, it was already too late. Twitchell stabbed him to death. He had done it. He had finally lived his dark fantasy. But killing was only half the plan. Like Dexter, Twitchell wanted to cover his tracks. He attempted to burn the body. It didn't work. He dismembered Johnny instead, disposing of his remains in a storm sewer. Then, he tried something bold. Something chilling. He took Johnny's keys, went to Johnny's apartment, and began impersonating him online. He emailed Johnny's friends, claiming he had gone on vacation to Costa Rica with a woman. He even emailed Johnny's workplace to resign on his behalf. And to really sell it, he updated Johnny's Facebook status. In a relationship. It was perfect. Almost. Because Johnny's friends knew him better than that. Johnny's friends noticed something was off. The emails didn't sound like him. The language was wrong. And besides, who runs off to Costa Rica on a whim with no warning? It wasn't his style. They started calling. No answer. They broke into his apartment. His keys were gone. His car was gone. His wallet was gone. All things you'd expect if he was traveling, except one. His passport was sitting right there. How? Could he go to Costa Rica without it? That's when alarm bells went off. And finally, they went to the police. At first, officers brushed it off. Maybe Johnny really did just leave. But then, Johnny's friend remembered something. That email. The address. He still had it. And suddenly, this wasn't just a missing person case. This was a crime scene waiting to be discovered. Police went to the address Johnny had sent. It led straight to Twitchell's garage. And guess who they found there? Mark Twitchell, with Johnny's car. When questioned, Twitchell fumbled. He said he'd bought the car from a stranger, but his story kept changing. He was lying, and the police knew it. They searched further. And inside Twitchell's laptop, they found the smoking gun. SK confessions, his diary, his play-by-play of everything he had done. The attempt with G, the murder of Johnny, his feelings, his fantasies, his obsession with Dexter. Every word was a confession. Every page, a window into the mind of a man who couldn't tell where TV ended and real life began. Twitchell was arrested. His mugshot revealed not a monster, but an ordinary man with a chillingly blank stare. In court, prosecutors laid out the evidence. The film, the diary, the fake profiles, the cover-ups. He was convicted of first-degree murder in 2011 and sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. But the shadow of Dexter still hung over the trial. The media dubbed him the Dexter Killer. And to this day, Mark Twitchell remains one of the most disturbing examples of how obsession, fantasy, and fiction can twist into deadly reality. So here's the chilling question. How many people out there are walking that same line? Consuming violent stories, fantasizing, planning, waiting. How many are out there right now turning fiction into reality? And here's the haunting thought. Johnny might still be alive if that first victim had gone to police, but he didn't. One man's silence became another man's death sentence. What would you have done? This is the story of Mark Twitchell, the man who tried to become Dexter. But unlike Dexter, there was no code, no justice, no fiction, only death. Stay safe out there, because sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones who think they're just playing a role. And for more such videos, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any latest upcoming videos.